How do they do that? Welcome to the show, and to get us underway, we're off to a screeching halt, which is not as bad as it sounds, because our first film celebrates something we all tend to take for granted, but in fact, without it, we couldn't get very far. It's the good old car tyre.
There's no doubt about it, we really do put them through their paces. But these days, tyres are masterpieces of engineering. They keep us on the road and moving safely in everything from freezing snow to rain-soaked motorways. But just how do they do that?
Keep us on the straight and narrow. They prevent us from going completely round the bend. And when we slam on the brakes, they stop us in a matter of seconds. Without them, we'd be out of control. So, how do they do it?
A tyre is still just a tube full of air. It's a very complex tube full of air, but that's all it is. It keeps 1.5 tons of cars from flying off the road sideways. It'll stop from 100 miles an hour without bursting. It grips the road through a footprint about the size of your hand. It really is an engineering miracle.
A miracle the modern world can't do without. If you want to get away, if you want to take away, you need tyres. No doubt about it, they've revolutionised our lives.
In the early days, driving wasn't quite as pleasant as this. The first tyres were simply solid rubber, and they didn't exactly promise a smooth ride. Then in 1888, the first practical pneumatic tyre arrived on the scene, and that changed everything.
A solid tyre would go over the bumps. A lot of the energy would be up and down energy, whereas a pneumatic tyre, all the bumps were absorbed into the air chambers within the casing of the tyre, so it tended to go through the bumps, and it gave a much smoother ride.
Early wheels were based on the 19th century technology of the horse and cart. Thin wooden rims and wooden spokes. It was a miracle the tyre stayed on at all.
This is an early tyre, and it's held onto the rim with pressure inside. The more pressure you put in it, the more it's forced out. Take the pressure away, and the beads come in and the tyre will come off the rim. This would run at 80 or 90 pounds per square inch.
That's fine when you're trundling along at this speed, but that was then, and this is now. Since the 1920s, an average car's top speed and weight has doubled. Life's a lot tougher for the tyre. Today, the tyre is a complex jigsaw made of up to 30 separate pieces. It starts with 2 steel hoops covered in rubber. They're joined by sheets of cord, which form the shape of the tyre. That's lined to keep the air in. The sides are made of flexible rubber, which will bend in cornering. On the shoulders, the rubber is harder and stiffer for protection. Steel wires known as belts are placed underneath the main tread. These help keep the tyre's shape, whatever the punishment.
Nowadays, tyre designs are so complicated, there isn't a machine clever enough to put them together on its own, so most tyres are still crafted by hand. Each tyre is given the same attention as a tailored suit. Modern tyres can grip the road even in the most testing conditions. The secret's in the tread.
The most important thing about the latest tread designs is their ability to get rid of the water and let the rubber grip the road. The time you notice it is when you're really in trouble.
Getting the pattern just right is critical, especially in the wet. It's an exact science because only the tiniest patch actually touches the road.
The water on the road builds up in front of the tyre and tends to lift the tyre up. This reduces the contact area. This is called aquaplaning.
Early tests showed just how dangerous that could be. The tyres on this car couldn't even slow it down. Even tyres designed just 5 years ago have significantly less grip than tyres produced today. But designers like Orlando have literally put a stop to problems like this. How did they do that?
Improved tread patterns move water to the sides of the tyre rather than to the front of the contact area.
And how does it do that? Well, as you can see here, the water is pumped out through the tyre's grooves. And this is Orlando's latest baby. Its unique arrow pattern can clear even more water from beneath the tyre as the car drives along, which of course means better grip.
The difference that we found between the state-of-the-art tyre 5 years ago and the current state-of-the-art tyre is about 30 feet. And if you think about it, 30 feet is the difference between killing somebody, running over somebody on a zebra crossing, or smacking the front of your car up the back of an Arctic on the motorway, and it's a really significant difference.
So look after those 4 black donuts at each corner of your vehicle. It may be well worthwhile. They're not just pieces of rubber, they could save your life.
Now a story of war and peace. In